Welcome to Preparedness and Intuition, Part 4 of this 12-part Wisdom series. These teaching programs are made possible by Your Own World Books, publishers of the Colburn Bible and God's Child Covenant by Marshall Masters. Please feel free to share complete and unedited copies of these programs with others. For more information, visit virtualserenity.com.
The human mind is a vehicle to the many dimensions spoken of earlier. As multidimensional beings, we must prepare for what is to come in more dimensions than the physical alone. We must prepare in the spiritual, the mental, and philosophical levels as well for the coming global cataclysm. This is the only practical way to prepare for what is to come, for it will require preparedness on each of these levels to ensure your own survival and that of those you hold dear. Those who come late to awareness have little time to prepare themselves adequately, if at all. To them, the future events will unfold upon this world as a curse that is happening to them. Consequently, their first impulse will be to separate themselves from its harmful effects. Yet what they will fail to understand is that there is no place to hide from this horrific future, for it will happen to one and all and in many different ways. The final tally of those who survive and the suffering of those who fall will mostly be a matter of fortune or misfortune, but not entirely. This is because what the event does to each of us will largely depend on how soon we begin to see ourselves as being a part of it. When we become a part of it, like the thread of life in the flag we discussed earlier, we begin to feel its movements. As you listen to this teaching of the Elohim, visualize yourself as a thread of life and feel the force of nature about you and that to which you are connected. In simple terms, be the flag.
The next thing we wish to speak to you about today is preparedness. You know, we go along our day and we prepare our food, we prepare our homes, we prepare ourselves for the day. But it goes beyond that. Preparedness means to be aware, and we spoke to you of that in the first part of this. All of these things that we speak to you of are intricately intertwined. There's nothing here that is going to be separate from another. So preparedness is all about being prepared. As you prepare for your day, you must prepare for your days ahead. All of you that are listening to this are very aware of the changes that are going on this earth at this time. The violent actions of Mother Nature, the violent actions of each other, the almost surreal thought processes coming forward from people that are in our governments and higher officials. All of this has become almost commonplace, but yet there are many of you out there that weren't prepared for this. Had you have been aware, you would have been prepared for the times we live in now. So what we suggest to you is to be prepared for the times coming ahead, so that all of this will not become surreal, but will become part of what you know, part of what you are. Now, this brings into another question of whether The changes coming forward on this earth are destined or prophesied. And as our levels of awareness increase individually and therefore exponentially across the world, it can prevent it from being as cataclysmic as it will be. However, we will tell you is that the changes will happen, but to what degree or intensity really is dependent upon the humans here on this earth. And we use that term human in a manner in which just to describe the beings that you all are aware of that are on the earth plane, because that is another discussion yet of the different peoples who live among you, species, shall we say. So being prepared is being prepared for the changes, the worldview, the energy levels, the climate changes, the activity in the weather, as well as what's going on around the world. Many of you who are listening to this are born and bred in the United States. And we would tell you is that being prepared is meaning being prepared worldwide. For other cultures, other countries have very different viewpoints as to what's going on in the world, but it still is going to be the same in as much as the changes that are coming forward. You have to be prepared in your own small communities of where would you go should there be a disaster or a catastrophe. What would you take with you? What would be important for you? I want each and every one of you to look around your home, for this material world is an illusion. You will not take these things with you. These things will become not important. Right now they are part of your world because that is the world in which the illusion has been created that you are interacting with. But I tell you, you do not need to take these things with you. You need to learn how to get into your own guidance and to listen to your own guidance, which again brings us back to the awareness, which brings us to the next one that we will be talking about is the knowledge on how to get the awareness and how to prepare yourself. You must prepare your families, and that means your family members. Please understand that not everyone is going to feel the same. They're not going to feel the way that you feel. And you have to learn to come to accept that. And you have to learn to be able to deal with that. That comes through your awareness. That's part of being prepared. So we would tell you as you look around your home, if you had to leave your home today, what would you take with you? What would be dependent upon your survival? We will talk more about the survival mode because it should not be anything to be feared. It is no different than being prepared for going to work each day, to do your homework each day, to get your clothes ready to wear each day, to make your breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It is just where are you being prepared at? What is it that you're focusing on?
We are not only multidimensional beings with multidimensional minds, we are also gifted with brains that can grow with wisdom. We can actually compare the neural pathways of our minds to the many interwoven threads of a flag, but then there is even more. Our neural pathways expand and reorganize themselves in direct response to our thoughts as we transform awareness into preparedness. One could say this process is similar to programming a modern computer, but this natural process of contemplation yields far more sophisticated results because it only requires the simple act of contemplation. This is because the very act of contemplating awareness translates into preparedness. We literally direct our minds to weave new pathways as though it were a magical flag that can sew itself into an even greater purpose. Through such contemplation, we can sew the pathways of our survival within the physical structure of our brains. When the day comes that we are confronted with the anger of nature, then something marvelous can happen. We will become a part of it and understand it more quickly and more intuitively. This unique ability creates time to get out of the way, time to move to safety, time to live another day. But stepping aside from danger will not be your greatest challenge, for in the coming global cataclysm, you will bear witness to a great suffering, one that will strip away your sense of self and whatever hopes you cherish for the future, if you let it. There is only one defense for this suffering, and that is knowledge. In the next teaching in this series, the Elohim share with us the importance of knowledge in the survival sense.
These teaching programs are made possible by Your Own World Books, publishers of the Colburn Bible and God's Child Covenant by Marshall Masters. The Colburn Bible is a two-part wisdom text. This secular anthology offers the wisdom of hundreds of ancient authors, and the many harbinger signs of their prophecies are now converging on 2012. God's Child Covenant is a romantic action drama set against a global tribulation. It offers a realistic yet hopeful vision for the future, because 2012 will be less about what is in your bunker and more about what is in your heart. A printed transcript of this entire teaching series is available. For more information, visit virtualserenity.com. And God's Child Covenant by Marshall Masters. Please feel free to share complete and unedited copies of these programs with others. For more information, visit virtualserenity.com.
Multidimensional beings, we must prepare for what is to come in more dimensions than the physical alone. We must prepare in the spiritual, the mental, and philosophical levels as well for the coming global cataclysm. This is the only practical way to prepare for what is to come, for it will require preparedness on each of these levels to ensure your own survival and that of those you hold dear. Those who come The human mind is a vehicle to the many dimensions spoken of earlier. As
Welcome to Preparedness and Intuition, Part 4 of this 12-part wisdom series. These teaching programs are made possible by Your Own World Books, publishers of the Colburn Bible.
Late to awareness have little time to prepare themselves adequately, if at all. To them, the future events will unfold upon this world as a curse that is happening to them. Consequently, their first impulse will be to separate themselves from its harmful effects. Yet what they will fail to understand is that there is no place to hide from this horrific future, for it will happen to one and all and in many different ways.